Chuki beat.
What's up guys, Carmine here. So you guys know what's up. You're trying to take a late night cruise, maybe get a bite to eat, spool that rotary. But wait, you can't see anything because your headlights suck. So that's what we're dealing with today. We're going to be retrofitting some bi-xenon projectors inside of the FD RX-7. So let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the headlight shrouds. So there's just 4 Phillips screws. Alright, next we'll remove these 3 screws on these tabs that are basically used to adjust the headlight. But we're going to remove those so we can pop it out. You'll also have to remove this little spring over here as well. Alright, before popping it out, you'll just want to unclip the headlight connector. And bam, literally. Somehow this thing survived, even though we won't be needing it. At this point I think I'm going to also take out this cover, just so I could see how far the projector is going to stick out of the headlight. And here's what we're left with, skeletons of what were the most awful headlights to ever be made. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is pop open these headlights. The first thing I'm going to do is just pop off these clips. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is just get this oven preheated, and I'm going to bake the headlights one at a time at 225 for 10 minutes. About this oven, I actually just got it for some small powder coating projects, but it's basically for college kids who want to bake pizzas. So if you don't want to use your own oven where you're cooking food, then you could pick one of these up for pretty cheap. Alright, so let's pop this thing in. Alright, so what I ended up doing is just running this along the seal and trying to just grab as much of the sealant as possible. And now I'm just going to toss it back in and bake it for another 5 minutes or so. And if it's hot enough, you'll see that this starts to happen. You can basically pry the lens off. And there you have it. We have the lens popped off of the headlight. So now we're just going to repeat that for the other one. Alright, there we have it. 2 completely separated headlights. Alright, so here we have our housing. What I'm going to do first is just remove this little shield in here, as well as the back end, and then the bulb holder. Alright, so here's the next issue we're going to tackle. So with our projector inside of our housing, you'll notice that this projector is just sticking out way too far. So what we have to do is basically cut off this bowl right here so that we can stick the projector in deeper. Alright, so what we're going to do is basically cut to this lip right here. So we're going to cut this area out completely so that the projector will fit inside of this hole. And then what we're going to add is a little spacer made of PVC to go on top of that we're then going to put a washer and the lock nut that will secure the projector in place. So I'm just going to go cut to right about here. You're going to want to make a pretty straight cut, so I'm going to use my chop saw. Let's do this. And here is the result. As you can see, the hole is a lot bigger because we have cut out that bowl basically to the lip right here. And then we'll place a 2.5 inch spacer with a depth of 3/4 of an inch right onto here. Alright, with both of my holes cut and my spacers made of PVC in place, what I'm going to do is just put a layer of epoxy on the bottom. Well guys, as you can see, we have successfully put about 6 pounds of JB weld on these housings, so I think we're good for the night. I think I'll just let it cure and then we'll come back to this in the morning. So it's officially hoodie weather in Atlanta, which is awesome because I love hoodies, but it sucks because I hate being cold. So let's check out these headlights, see how they dried overnight, and get back to work. Alright, so here are the headlights. As you can see, I put some weights and try to distribute it with a piece of wood, but it looks kind of nasty, but I don't think anything leaked on the other side, which is awesome. And this little adapter piece should not be going anywhere. The next thing I'm going to do is just drill 2 holes, one in each housing, and these are just going to be for the high beam control to pass through and connect to the plug on the back of the projector. Alright, so this is how I'm going to secure the projector in place. I have this silicone grommet that's going to go on top of the projector, and then a little washer to rest against the housing. Then I have this plastic washer that I basically bored to 1.5 inches, so there won't be any play between the housing and the projector. Then I have a H4 adapter plate, and then my lock ring. So I'm just going to tighten this all in place. Not too tight because I'm going to check the rotation on the car to make sure it's perfectly horizontal. So next I'm going to drop in my bulb, and you can't mess this up since there's a notch. My spring, and this bulb retaining nut. Alright, so here is everything that comes with the retrofit source kit. I know it looks like a lot, and that's because it is. It is very complete. So I'm just going to walk through the components real quick, just so you guys can get familiar with everything. So all this is right here is a relay. So basically it will intercept your headlight switch output, and then once that is turned on, it'll basically kick off power to the ballast over here. So there's going to be 2, 1 per headlight, and that's just going to have an input from the relay which will give it power. Ballast will connect to the igniter, which will connect directly to the back of the projector. So for the connections we'll have to make, we're just going to connect this relay to the headlight plug on the driver's side, and this is going to go to ground. Then we have 12-volt battery source, and then another ground. So that pretty much composes all of the external connections. Alright, I think I'm going to mount the relay right here. It's facing pretty much down, and it'll give me good access to the battery connection as well as this driver's side headlight, and then I'll just have to hide the wire that's going to the passenger side. Alright, next I'm just going to tuck this headlight connector through this hole back here so it comes out over here. Alright, with the headlight connector back through here, we're just going to connect it. Next I'm just going to pop off this cover that I have on the battery terminal wire, and I'll just take off that bolt and then hook up the 12-volt power source to the relay. Alright, so now with the power connected, run the wires to the driver's side ballast, and there's also a ground connection right here. Alright, and here we have our 3 wires, and that is where I ran my ground. It's just a bolt that is holding the headlight house into the chassis. If you guys don't already have a V-mount, it is a must for holding tools. It seriously comes in handy. I'm just going to somehow bring the passenger side harness somewhere over here. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is just mount the ballast. I think I'm just going to basically use double-sided tape and let it rest right here. That'll give me enough room to run the igniter through this hole right here. Alright, so there's our igniter. We're just going to have to put our housing in place, connect it, and align it. Well guys, here we have it all put in place and connected. Everything is wired up, so let's test it out. Well guys, as you can see, it is on. Looks pretty sweet. Look at that cutoff line. What up guys? I know I'm in an extremely awkward stance, but I really just want to take this shot with the headlight behind me because I think it looks pretty sweet. If you've made it this far, you've successfully wired in your relays, power, got your projector inside of your headlight housing, so everything's pretty much good to go. In the next episode, what we're going to do is put a shroud to cover the projector, and then reseal the headlight, and then just tidy everything up and take some nighttime shots. Thanks again for watching. Peace out.